The following is an Outdoor Channel original production.
14-year-old male went over the handlebars. Pupils are good, no loss of consciousness, strong pulse.
This is a young kid who's been sitting in pain for a couple of hours, so we want to get there as fast as we can.
We're pushing the envelope because we were very concerned with him being hypothermic.
Hey Trevor, my name's Anthony. I'm with Teton County Search and Rescue. What's your pain level between 1 and a 10? Is it 10? Okay, good to know. We have limited information. There's a possibility of an open or closed fracture. We're just gonna roll him over on his back, okay? And this is gonna hurt you.
There's no doubting the allure of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It's drawn the most daring among us since the days of the mountain men. These high peaks, rushing rivers, and rare wildlife inspire adventures that can continue to push even the hardiest souls to the brink. In America's ongoing showdown between people and mountains, this is center stage. This is Jackson Hole Backcountry, a vast wilderness that spreads across Yellowstone and Grand Tetons National Parks. This is where locals and the hordes of visitors come to test themselves. Out here, there's little room for error. In fact, it takes a local's knowledge to survive the worst the Tetons can throw at you. There are no shortcuts, just lifelong experience. Bottled up inside veteran Teton County search and rescue volunteers like Phil Tucker, who goes by the nickname Flip.
Oh, big guy.
As far as my team goes, I'm probably the biggest hillbilly on the team, and I'm sure a lot of the guys and gals would agree to that. People look at me in the trucks I drive. I don't have a Prius. I don't have one of those. So you can see my sweatshirt. I'm all about Wyoming. From the time I was 9 years old, my folks took me in the mountains on horseback. This is what we did for fun. By doing that, you know a lot of territory. You've seen a lot of things. And that's, I guess, what I mean by being a hillbilly.
With his bow and his horse, Flip prowls the backcountry, looking for new spots to set up his annual elk camp. All that time in the saddle gradually turned Flip into a human GPS beacon.
They have a GPS location, and I said, well, I've been there. I can get you in, that kind of thing. And that's why they always ask me, how do we do this? How do we get into this particular spot?
He's one of the fastest first responders because he's raced to rescues since he was a teenager.
I was 13, 14 years old, I guess. That was my first taste of search and rescue, which I dug, of course. I felt good because they asked us to help them, and we knew that we could. This is the best four-wheeler that you ever have right here.
Teton County Search and Rescue volunteers like Flip are on call 24/7, 365. So when emergency calls come in, they push the pause button on their lives and head to the hangar, the team's home base, where Search and Rescue Coordinator Jess keeps the 40 members busy with training year-round.
I'm at the hangar. We got a full crew here. We can send in the shift.
I'm the only paid person on search and rescue, and I work for the Teton County Sheriff's Office. I'm here every day, 40 hours a week. Jackson's pretty unique in the sense that people move here to recreate. They visit here to recreate. I think we draw a unique crowd that likes to push the envelope. So search and rescue has to be very highly skilled and highly trained. Can you run through a safety check with everyone who's going?
Yes.
I will send you coordinates. You are the team leader for that group.
Yeah, just right now.
Under Flip's wing today is rookie Anthony Stevens, who must ace a year-long training program to earn a permanent spot on the team.
Anthony is a great guy. He was born and raised in Jackson. He went to the same high school I did. He wants to be the best. He wants to be a guy that can go in there and do it all, which is great for search and rescue.
This is what you got for folks that are here right now. And then these are people that can ride sleds.
Today we are going out on the snowmobile to practice.
We're gonna go out, we're gonna ride the trails. Practice these skills, practice getting to know the machines.
If Anthony wants to succeed on Flip's search and rescue snowmobile team, he needs to learn how to ride around Togety Pass, Wyoming's most demanding sled proving grounds.
So,
Oh, dude, seriously. Togety's this amazing area in Wyoming that you have so many different types of terrain. You can go for hundreds of miles just looping these trails together.
Togety Pass remains Flip's home turf, where he comes to be challenged in the deep snow.
Flip's an excellent rider. He has intimate knowledge of the area. It doesn't seem like there's anybody out there that knows Togety as well as he does.
On a good powder day, it's like riding a cloud.
He's also super patient with teaching us new folks snowmobiling skills.
we're going and right there. And then we're gonna hit this area right in here, which I feel is one of the best places to ride.
Flip's speed and agility on a snowmobile pays off when he rushes to the scene of accidents. Then when it's time to haul patients to safety, he knows how to ride smoothly through the backcountry, so bad injuries aren't made worse by a bumpy ride.
Goal for today was to get out and see what the trail was like and to see how all the sleds performed.
Anthony appreciates the one-on-one time with Flip because he's fighting to control more than just this powerful machine. He might be part of one of the most elite search and rescue teams on the planet. But there was a time when Flip would have left Anthony in the dust.
10 years ago, there's no way I could have physically been on this team. I was close to 300 pounds. I forced myself into type 2 diabetes, and that was a light switch for me, and I completely switched myself around. I started eating better, more exercise. I dropped 100 and some odd pounds. Wrong trail, but yeah, we're going down. I've got a kid, and I want to stay physically active. I want him to have a love for the outdoors, and I want to spend time getting him to know this valley as I did as a kid. Oh yeah, there you are. I have a lot of pride being on this team because it's sort of a culmination of what you work for when you put your mind to something.
Over the last several months, Anthony has felt overwhelmed by rookie training, including tough classes in first responder emergency medicine.
I do get anxious about the things that I might fall short on. I want to focus on the skills that are needed to get this person out. You want to make sure that you're prepared when the pager goes off. Sometimes I still feel like an imposter when I pull up like, wow, should I be here? Do I actually belong in here? It's still sort of a pinch yourself where you're like, yeah, we've worked hard to get to this point.
Fourteen-year-old Bill went over the handlebars. Pupils are good, no loss of consciousness, strong pulse.
Just as Anthony and Flip are parking the snowmobiles, a call comes in from back at Togety Pass.
They say he smashed his leg.
There's a 14-year-old boy in need of immediate medical care in the backcountry. Anthony is at the hangar and ready to go.
Put your teams together, get it organized.
Jess takes over as incident commander at the hangar, while Anthony joins Flip's first responding snowmobile team. He might be a rookie, but today, because Anthony has the most backcountry first aid training, he's suddenly thrust into the role of medical lead. So it's a race to get to the scene before darkness descends and temperatures drop into the single digits, bringing on the threat of hypothermia.
Okay, let's go.
14-year-old Bill went over the handlebars. Pupils are good, no loss of consciousness, strong pulse.
Teton County search and rescuers Flip Tucker and Anthony Stevens are called out to care for a 14-year-old snowmobiler with an undisclosed leg injury. Anthony works as a wilderness educator for the National Outdoor Leadership School, so he's dealt with injuries in the backcountry. But he's never overseen a rescue for this team.
We are almost at the Continental Divide. We're not too far from where we're meeting Chris.
The exact location of the snowmobiler crash remains unknown. All the team knows is the boy's hurt and in danger of becoming hypothermic somewhere around Togety Pass, where the winter temperatures can swing from just above freezing to 20 below zero in a single day.
My understanding is the patient has been out for a couple of hours now in the snow. Hypothermia is a real concern.
Hypothermia sets in when a person's body temperature drops below 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Young victims like the injured boy don't have a lot of insulating body fat, so they're at greater risk, especially if they're hurt and lying in the snow.
Anthony to IC, be advised we are on scene.
This is Incident Command, where Jess listens in and coaches over the radio.
If you get further information or GPS coordinates, that's going to be the key.
Anthony, he loves to learn. He always wants to learn more and do better. He puts an enormous amount of energy into his training. He wants to be able to do whatever we throw at him.
Anthony is the on-scene EMT. He must stabilize the boy's leg and get him out of the backcountry.
You just want us to package and bring him out.
The local rangers point the team in the direction of the crash site.
Awesome.
It's a lucky break. Anthony and Flip won't have to spend precious time trying to locate the boy who's suffering out in the cold. With the moon rising, it's time for Anthony to prove himself.
You're gonna have to hit it kind of hard. Ready?
Here's where Flip's sled skills really pay off. As he rides in, he scouts for a safe, smooth exit, because a rough trip could have life or death consequences if the patient has any undetected internal bleeding or a spinal injury.
I'm medical lead on this, and we put together a small team of 4 folks. We have limited information. There's a possibility of an open or closed fracture. We won't know until we get on scene and assess that. Hey, Trevor, my name's Anthony. I'm with Teton County Search and Rescue. How you doing? They have cut open his pants. I don't see any pooling blood, but I also don't know what else is wrong with him. What's your pain level between 1 and 10? 1 being, mosquito bite, 10 being the worst you've ever felt in your life? How do you rate this? This is a 10? Okay, good to know.
It's time to deploy the suck bag, which works like a bean bag in reverse. With the pump sucking the air out of the bag, this creates a rigid, stabilizing cast.
Okay, so what we need to do is we need to roll Trevor onto the side. We need one person to kind of support this leg. This is gonna hurt, okay? Trevor, this is gonna hurt a little bit, okay, bud? So, hold on. I'm gonna hold your hand. Slow down. Okay.
Anthony has more than just an injured boy on his hands. He's also there to reassure the boy's father, who kneels in the snow to help move his son into Flip's transport toboggan.
Let's see if we can just get the thing up under the knee and let him calm down. He's been lying in that position. That's why it hurts.
Oh, God.
Okay, so go ahead and let's see.
Anthony and his team are unsure if the boy's suffering from a broken femur or possibly a dislocated hip, and this puts the group on edge.
See, the other leg's in the way is what I'm telling you. I gotta bring the other leg up to match his leg so I can bring the suck bag up.
So all we're doing is we're not actually gonna pick him up, we're just gonna roll him over on his back, okay? And this is gonna hurt. You definitely feel the pressure. I'm still new to the team. It's getting dark. That's just an added challenge. Anybody not ready? Okay, on 3, 2, 1.
The Teton County Search and Rescue Snowmobile Team is the closest thing you're going to get to an ambulance on snow. Rookie Anthony Stevens is medical lead, so it's on him to stabilize a 14-year-old boy with a serious leg injury. That means he's got to roll the patient over.
We're not actually gonna pick him up, we're just gonna roll him over on his back, okay? And this is gonna hurt.
The whole team is relying on the suck bag to save the day by bracing the boy's legs in place.
Anybody not ready? Okay, on 3, 2, 1.
He won't put it down. He won't put it down. Okay. He's got to let go of it.
buddy.
Relax.
Use my hand.
You got it. You got it.
He did not want to put his leg down. Even with a femur fracture, you can generally guide that leg down, but he absolutely was guarding it. He was holding it up as if it was a position of comfort for him.
Hang on just a second.
I think for me as a parent, I don't want to hear a kid scream. I don't want to hear anybody scream, but I was taught a long time ago, the thing to remember is that it's not your pain. Your job is to stabilize, transport, and treat. Get in there, yep. Trevor, you're doing a great job. Bring the sides up if you can. Oh, yeah. He felt more relief when both of his legs were up in that sort of chair position. And the minute that we had him in that rigid position and we let him go, he said, this is the best I've felt since this happened.
3, 2, might need it on the other side. It's going to help.
With the boy's legs braced, the team gets one step closer to the hospital by lowering him into Flip's transport toboggan.
Okay, in, nice and slow. Nice. Perfect. Maybe Dad should stay. Did you have Dad sit in here with him? I wanted to make sure that his father was with him, just for that emotional support and knowing that he's been laying in the snow, he gets packaged up and he gets put into a toboggan, that he's not just surrounded by people that he doesn't know.
I want to follow you guys as level and as smooth as possible.
It's showtime for Flip and his toboggan, one specially designed for the backcountry. Its wide base prevents injuries by providing a smooth ride for a stretched out patient.
My role as the snowmobile guy is to make sure that we get him off the snow and get him in the toboggan as quickly as possible.
Back at Incident Command, all Jess can do is keep her faith in the toboggan coming up big.
Flip, I see. Flip, what's the status on the toboggan up there? In the backcountry, when you're carrying a person who's injured, it's convenient and easier to have this toboggan. It allows us to drag them gently through the snow and also saves our energy.
You have to fight off the adrenaline. The adrenaline kicks in and you're all amped up and you have to stop, take a big deep breath, and relax and be smooth, because smooth is fast.
Smooth is fast. That's the team motto. They are words Flip lives by, and now the team is counting on its most experienced rider to pull this patient to safety.
Going too fast, you start making mistakes. If you don't slow down and think about that kind of stuff, then there's a problem.
There's always concerns moving a patient that has a high-speed accident. What other internal damages go down that we can't see?
Backcountry Zero. A campaign to reduce fatalities in the backcountry. It's time to heighten our awareness about safety. It's time for Zero. A 14-year-old boy is loaded and ready for transport. While back at Incident Command, Jess waits for news from the field.
Hey, Anthony, how are you? Right now, I'm pretty anxious. They're at least on their way out of the backcountry. But I don't feel the job is done until the team is back here safely and get him to definitive care.
Ready?
This is a crux moment in the rescue, and it falls to Flip, who has spent his life riding this remote section of the Wyoming backcountry.
You have to fight off the adrenaline. And you're all amped up and you have to take a big deep breath and relax and be smooth.
Good job, Trevor. 1, 3, good job, lift up. 1, 2, 3.
It was new terrain for me. The first time I'm leading my peers. I'd be lying if I didn't feel like there was a little bit of pressure. But I know that the next call, one of my other peers will be the leader and they'll be feeling the same thing. So I'm excited and I'm ready for the next one whenever it happens.
Anthony, awesome job.
Mark,
Yeah, right there. Really great job.
Yeah, great job. That worked out.
Anthony took a big deep breath and relaxed, and I patted him on the back and said, nice job. That's all in the day's work as far as the search and rescue goes.
Teton County has done a great job at putting together this excellent first response team, highly qualified individuals that care about the people that they're working for, essentially. We're out there training for the people, and we look after ourselves and we look after our community.
Anthony did a great job, my team did a great job, and we back each other up.
We can have all the fancy toys like the helicopter and the snowmobiles, but without the team showing up to support each other and to trust each other and get the job done, none of these tools matter. So it's all about the team.
And with this rescue, Anthony made big strides to becoming a full-blown member of this team.
I have always wanted to be on this team. We all live in this community. We choose to live here. It's a tough place to be, and we want to take care of the people that are here. And, you know, I wanted to be a part of that. Jackson is the country's best playground, and you can't be everywhere all the time, but if you can be there sometimes to help out, that's a valuable resource.